The name is Mamdani, Mamdani. Even I have had the song stuck in my head. I cannot lie to you guys. It's a sad day for New York, but a ton of people are super happy about it. So guess what? We got to talk about Zohran Mamdani. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Because today we're talking about Zohran Mamdani. Of course we are. He's the new mayor of New York. I'm not surprised by this whatsoever, given the voter base in New York and the political and economic state of the world. This is where we're at now. So I figured today, let's do a little bit of a deep dive into Zohran Mamdani because he's such an interesting guy. And we're going to start off with him saying that he grew up in the third world. What a fascinating tale he's telling the world.
So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics, you have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Tell me, why is Palestine a part of your politics?
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
Okay, someone especially in the third world. Let's check in on Zohran Mamdani, okay? So he spent like 5 years of his life in Uganda, and then from there, a few years of his life in South Africa, I believe. Mind you, he's raised by a multi-million-dollar filmmaking mother and a dad who's an esteemed academic. So he especially grew up in the third world. I want to see what the third world experience was like for Mr. Zohran Mamdani, because I have a feeling it's very different from the third world experience of people actually living in the third world. But since we're talking about mommy and daddy, let's meet Zohran's dad and hear what he has to say. Here he is.
America is the genesis of what we call settler colonialism. And the American model was exported all around the world. Abraham Lincoln generalized the solution of reservations. They herded American Indians into separate territories. For the Nazis, this was the inspiration. Hitler realized two things. One, that genocide was doable. It is possible to do genocide. That's what Hitler realized. Second thing Hitler realized is that you don't have to have a common citizenship. You can differentiate between people. The Nuremberg laws were patterned after American laws. Anyway, the U.S. put Indians in reservations. The U.S. invented the model.
Okay, so the U.S. invented the model of genocide and separation in this way and inspired Hitler and the Nazis. Now, this, of course, is his dad. We should, I think, have Zohran Mamdani take a look at this clip and tell us what he thinks about this, considering his father is saying essentially that America is the genesis for Hitler and, you know, all of World War II and the Holocaust. And maybe we should ask him how he feels about America, given that this is his father's position. But guess not, because he's your mayor, okay? Now, given his background with his mommy and daddy in Uganda and South Africa, Mamdani takes on a lot of different accents. He code switches, is what we're calling it now. Let's meet the many different Mamdanis.
Tonight, in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country, in the history of the world.
But in an interview in South Africa, he sounded a little different.
I actually created a playlist for Mira, who also happens to be my mother. Nepotism and hard work goes a long way.
And in an interview with the Turkish-American podcast, Mamdani sounded different again.
I'll be honest with you, Brother Masoom, is that at this point, not many people are thinking about it.
And here is Zohran during his rapper days.
You know, it would have been here earlier, but a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour. You can't just stop it. You know.
I do a deep dive into Zohran Mamdani and his changing accents for the free press.
Okay, now of course you have different backgrounds, you have different like codes that you switch into. I can notice a little slight accent slipping in here, a little slight accent slipping in there. The amount of times that this guy does it when he's talking to different demographics of people is absolutely astounding. He's inching up on Kamala Harris, who we all know loves a different accent when she's talking to a different crowd.
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. I hope your family is okay and your home is okay.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
And of course, I think people could see this. So he's just being who he is. He's just implementing a little bit of his background in the way he communicates. Or you could see it as him being disingenuous, given the group of people that he's speaking to, thinking that he can get, what should we call it? Like a leg up just by connecting with them a little bit. And if it's just his background of being Indian and South African and being in the rap scene, why is he talking differently to a Turkish podcast than he is to any other podcast? Why is it that you can look up different speeches that he's making across the 5 boroughs of New York and see him speaking differently to different groups of people? I don't know. Make it make sense. But I guess Zohran is also confused about his identity. For when he went to college, he signed himself up as a black man. I don't know how that happened. We can see it right here. His ethnic group is listed as black, non-Hispanic, but I guess his middle name is Kwame, so that's how we get away with that one. Moving on. Now, despite the issues with identity, despite the lying about the growing up in the third world and witnessing poverty and experiencing all these different things, now Zohran Mamdani has a plan for New York. That plan involves state-run grocery stores. Let's roll the clip.
Why is the government a better solution for a lack of grocery stores, food deserts, than just working with the private sector to have them do what they know how to do, which is run grocery stores? What's your answer to that?
There are more than 1,000 grocery stores in New York City. I'm proposing creating 5 additional ones, 1 in each borough of New York City that the city would run, that would guarantee cheaper groceries, not free food, but cheaper groceries. And part of that is because food is a necessity for New Yorkers. It's a necessity for everyone. And yet it's something that people are being priced out of. And we can see the promise and the possibility of a public option. And we've seen in studies that have been done about the applicability of this in an urban setting like Chicago, that this is something we can actually deliver right here in New York City.
But there was another example in Kansas City where they had a government-run grocery store, and it's been there for years, but it's on the verge of closing because it doesn't work. They've been riddled with crime. They've dealt with just a lack of inventory. There are other examples where it just hasn't worked because, frankly, the government is not that good at being in the business of being in grocery stores.
So let's talk about that. Yes, the government is made with a purpose, and that purpose is supposed to be small and contained. The government is supposed to do a few things and a few things very well. One of those things is not running grocery stores. In fact, as she states on CNN, they've tried this before in Kansas City. Let's run a clip on that.
It's clear this Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect is struggling. This is the first section people see when they come in. There's barely any produce. A lot of the coolers and shelves around the store look the same way, empty. So shoppers have been asking us, if the store isn't closing, then where's all the food? A rotten smell comes through the door, and anywhere you turn, you'll see products that need to be restocked. No hot food or deli.
I watch people walk in and walk out.
The grocery store has received financial assistance from the city, but has been unable to keep those shelves stocked in an area that in the past has often been referred to as a food desert.
Around here, a good thing don't last too long.
And it will impact a lot of people and a lot of families.
The city owns the Linwood Shopping Center. A nonprofit operates the grocery store.
And there you go. And that grocery store is closed out as of August 2025, I believe. And Zohran states that Chicago is apparently super successful in running these state-run grocery stores. Checking in on Chicago, it doesn't seem like it. They're dealing with the very same issues that Kansas City was dealing with. They're dealing with empty shelves. They're dealing with theft and violent crime happening at these grocery stores. And guess what? They're not running as efficiently as normal grocery stores in the area. But apparently Zohran Mamdani, the guy who's never held a job in his entire life, who is now the mayor of New York City, is going to give you those state-run grocery stores that work efficiently and run well. On top of that, he's apparently going to freeze the rent for many New Yorkers, which is interesting because it's something that the mayor can't do. Let's run the clip.
And this, I'm going to freeze the rent. And people think it applies to all of them. No, just the 25% of the units that are rent stabilized. And by the way, it's all BS because the mayor doesn't have the power to do it anyway. The Rent Guidelines Board does, and he doesn't control the Rent Guidelines Board. So nothing is going to happen. It's all this. It's just more political blather.
Mr. Mamdani, you want to vote for them, Ms. Khan?
If you want a candidate for mayor who tells you everything that he cannot do, then Andrew Cuomo should be your choice.
And I hate that we can just like speak in these baseless platitudes where we say, I can just do it and I can do it. And don't listen to the guy who says he can't do it when it's literally something that you literally cannot do. You literally can't do it. But no, he gets to just give this, yes, we can attitude towards everything. And he's just listened to and believed, so much so that many people think that the grocery stores that Zohran Mamdani is going to be opening are going to be free.
Who are you voting for mayor?
I am voting Mamdani.
And why?
Because he's the most obvious choice, and he's gonna give everybody free houses, free rent, and he's gonna give everybody a Lamborghini. Or we could vote in somebody who's gonna burn down the city. That's why I'm voting Mamdani.
Now let's move on to another facet of the housing crisis in New York City that apparently Zohran Mamdani is going to solve. He says he's going to bring more affordable housing in New York City. Guess what? He can't.
And my critiques of the politics of the past is right here on this stage. You can see in Andrew Cuomo someone who had 10 years to deliver on so much of what he's spoken about. He says that taking 5 years to build affordable housing is the sign of an incompetent government. By his own words, that means he must have led an incompetent government. That is what we are seeing, because that is the record that is actually on offer.
Yeah, go ahead. I understand my friend doesn't really understand government. The governor doesn't build housing in New York City.
Not if it's you.
No, legally, there are jurisdictions.
Again, and what is he responded? Not if it's you. Just because you have an I can't do attitude and I have an I can do attitude. And that's the difference between these two candidates when it comes to being mayor of New York. If you're not actually listening. That's really all I can say at this point. And it seems like a lot of his fans, a lot of his voters aren't necessarily listening to what he's advocating for. I'm seeing a lot of young white women in particular talking about how they love a vote for Zohran Mamdani. Here he is talking about taxing white neighborhoods.
And realize there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods.
Best of luck to the white people in New York City that voted for Zohran Mamdani, because according to this, and according to a lot of his old tweets, he doesn't with y'all. He also does not with America or American history. Here's an old tweet from Zohran Mamdani of him flipping the bird at a Christopher Columbus statue, saying, quote, "Take it down," end quote. Oh my gosh. Y'all got the biggest America hater who's now going to be the mayor of the city of New York. You cannot make this stuff up. Now, he has some very radical ideas when it comes to, let's say, running the city of New York, dealing with things like, I don't know, violent crime. Here's his stance on prisons, where he asks, what purpose do they serve?
Are prisons obsolete?
Whew. Coming through with the quotes, coming through with the titles of the books. I have to read that, actually. I haven't read that as yet. But I think that, frankly, I mean, what purpose do they serve? Right? I think we have to ask ourselves that, which is that, you know, I think a lot of people who defend the carceral state, they defend the idea of it and the way it makes them feel.
Oh, yes. We have a prison system because it makes us feel good. I think it should make a few people feel good to know that violent criminals are hopefully going to be placed in prison rather than running around the streets of New York City. New York City already has a massive issue with violent crime, and that violent crime being perpetuated throughout the city. But now you have a mayor who's just not with prisons whatsoever. In fact, he's fine with abolishing the prison system. That's fine. But don't worry, when it comes to defending him and the NYPD being his protection detail, he thanks the officers.
And that was your first stop after coming back from Uganda. Talk to me about that. You've had security concerns. Did you fly commercial? Did you fly private? I know the Post reported on extra security at your wedding celebration. Was that a heightened sense of security, and did you have any issues with customs?
My life is sadly not the one that it was. There are far more threats, and with that comes precautions that I wish I didn't have to take, though they are also precautions that I am immensely grateful for, especially in the example of the NYPD detail. that I have here in New York City.
So interesting. Zohran Mamdani has his own NYPD security detail. He had different security details at his multiple weddings that he had with his new bride, and he's constantly being personally protected. Yet if we go in and check on his X account, we're going to find some interesting posts / tweets. He says, we need to defund the police, defund, dismantle, defund it, dismantle it, defund the police and build a socialist New York.
Queer liberation means defund the police. We want to defund the police. In New York City, 99% of office holders are Democrats, yet they refuse to defund cops who murder with impunity. We want to hashtag defund the NYPD.
He then posts defund the haram police. This is the sort of like protection for me, but not for the sort of reality of the left right now. These individuals are consistently having their own security. They lived in gated communities. They are rocking with the police when the police is rocking with them. But when it comes to you living your average life as a New Yorker, which, let's be honest, New Yorkers are constantly experiencing crime and violent crime at that, he wants to defund the police. Interesting. Okay, but I guess to Zohran Mamdani, a lot of the violence that many experience, let's say in the city of New York, is actually constructed. It's socially constructed. Let's watch the clip.
Legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
All right, guys, yeah, don't worry, because sometimes they're referring to certain crimes as violent when, let's say, there's not an actual victim of a violent act involved. Violence is socially constructed. Never mind the girls literally getting punched in the face all over New York City as they're like walking on their cell phones. Never mind the looting, never mind the robberies, never mind the sexual assault, never mind the stuff that's happening on the subway, never mind that a guy was literally set on fire on a New York subway and just a ton of New Yorkers just watched that individual die. Never mind the Daniel Pennies of the world who literally had to incapacitate a guy who was threatening to harm all the people on the subway because he didn't care about going to jail / prison. Under Zohran Mamdani, those violent crimes apparently are socially constructed. And where are the prisons going to be? I don't know. Luckily, I don't think he's capable of getting rid of prisons as the mayor of New York City, but Zohran Mamdani loves to say that he can do a lot of things that he can't. So that's great. But that is the life and the work of Zohran Mamdani, and it's new work considering this is the first job he's ever had in his entire life. I need to repeat that. This is the first job he's ever had in his entire life. Okay. So he's got a confused identity with a ton of different backgrounds and accents. He's got a mother and a father, both of whom multi-millionaires, but he grew up in the third world. Let's remember that. He's got a policy prescription for New York that I think is going to completely drive it into the ground if he's even capable of doing even a percentage, a small percentage of the things that he claims to be capable of. But Zohran Mamdani believes that the government should do all. The government should be in your backyard, your front yard. The government should be in your house. There is no problem too big or too small for the government. Never mind the fact that we've stated before that our founding fathers and politicians long after them have recognized the idea that government, again, is supposed to do a few things and a few things really well. Not Zohran Mamdani's government. The government must do everything. Let's watch the clip.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
So that sounds lovely and wonderful and awesome. The government is always going to be there for you. Daddy government is going to provide everything for you. It's going to provide groceries and healthcare, except it's not going to provide prisons. And we're not going to think of the idea of violent crime anymore because it's socially constructed. Daddy government will conquer all, except as I said before, politicians long before this time and hopefully long after understand that this is not the role of government. It's not the role of government to expand as far as it can possibly reach and to try to attempt to do everything for every single New York City citizen. Now, I'm going to show you a clip of Reagan and Clinton understanding this fact and Zohran Mamdani losing the plot.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
We know big government does not have all the answers. We know there's not a program for every problem.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
But a big win for New York, guys. I mean, out of all the clips and all the things we've talked about regarding Zohran Mamdani this entire video, that last clip should be the scariest one that you've heard. The fact that he believes in an ever-expanding, ever-evolving government that is going to solve everyone's issues. Mind you, he has no idea the life that an average American is leading on a daily basis. That should scare you, at least a little bit. But I guess he's the mayor of New York, and he's got that catchy song. His name is Mandani, M-A-N-D-A-N-I. So this is the reality that we're going to be dealing with. I guess we'll check back in on Zohran and see how he runs the city of New York. I have a feeling it's not going to go well, but nonetheless, here we are, and you guys voted for it, and that is democracy. Guys, let me know your thoughts on Zohran in the comments down below. I would love to hear everything you have to say. If you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. I encourage healthy debate on this channel, and if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.